We have a planning, good evening. It's 6:30. Well, we have a quorum. We'll call the planning board meeting to order. And pursuant to chapter 22 of the Acts of 2022 as amended, this meeting is being conducted as a remote Zoom format. The public has been provided with adequate alternative means of access via Zoom, as noted in the posted meeting notice, along with access and participation instructions. As chair, I hereby notify all participants that this meeting is also being recorded by the town through Hadley Media and will be made accessible to the public in accordance with Mass General Laws, Chapter 304, Section 20F. Any person who intends to record or transmit this meeting must inform the chair at this time. Anybody recording? Seeing nobody. Those in attendance for the planning board are Joe Zagrodnik, myself, Jim Maximowski, Bill Dwyer, Kishore Parmar, and Mark Dunn. And first up for waiver of further site plan approval for the Guyong Restaurant. Are they here?
Yes. Is my mic on this time?
Yes.
Excellent.
Mr. Brandt. Proceed.
As far as I know, we're listed on the agenda tonight for a waiver of any further site review because when we were here before, there was an original application involved a lot of exterior work, and we've just pulled back on all of that. All we're going to focus on in this building permit is renovating the kitchens and bathrooms and bringing up some ADA stuff. And there was this question, if you remember from the last planning board meeting, about the 33% trigger. Turns out that the property in question is two different properties and with a combined value of assessed value of $378,700. So the trigger point is up around $125,000. And this project, just doing the kitchen and the bathrooms, is going to be way under that. Because like I said, the original application, they wanted to do everything at once. And I was like, no, we'll see what happens. But their primary goal is to make their kitchen more functional, higher efficiency, and make the bathrooms and the whole building more accessible.
Okay. If that's the case, I don't think they really need anything from us, right, Mr. Dwyer?
The only thing they're doing that I think we just have to address is they are going to put a handicap ramp in front in place of the existing 3 sets of steps.
Right.
And you're not going to take up any more room, as I understand it.
Nope. All of those 3 sets of steps all come out more than 4 feet from the building. The ramp will not be more than 4 feet from the building.
Any exterior alterations, any change in the facade at the front at all?
Other than there will be the door that is currently not being used, which will get used for the ramp, will be widened to the accessibility code. And the other 2 doors will be either eliminated or just sealed off.
And the signs, do you have any sign available?
No, we're not talking about anything there. We're just focusing on the kitchen. They are talking to a sign company. I'm like, you guys talk to a sign company all you want. That's not me. That's not this building permit. I'm just trying to help them get their kitchen in order.
So you're looking for a waiver to ready to go, and we'd probably like to see the sign and where it's going to be located and kind of where the ramp is going to be located, although it's not a big deal.
Give them any waiver today, they've got to come back with a sign anyway.
Yeah. Right.
I would prefer not to provide any waiver because all except for the handicap ramp, which is pretty much exempt from zoning anyways, there's really nothing for us to look at.
So there is a sign on the building already, and it's not changing.
Yeah, but that's just my 2 cents.
So did we talk about the parking availability? Is there going to be enough parking for staff and for customers if they are very successful?
Well, it's a pre-existing business, which is very successful, and there's a ton of parking on the two lots.
Well, pre-existing businesses have a way of changing, and sometimes, for example, which was an auto parts store just a few hundred yards down the road became a restaurant, and there was a pre-existing building as an auto parts store. Then it became a restaurant, and it had not enough parking.
I understand. It is currently a restaurant, and the restaurant is not changing hands or concept. It is still a restaurant.
I agree with you, Joe, that there may not be adequate parking if they become successful, but I don't know if there's much we can do about that. That becomes an
Well,
issue.
The one thing
Shouldn't that have been caught
the
when
problem
it
we
became a
faced-
restaurant?
The problem we faced a little further down Russell Street is that we should make it clear that no parking of their customers should be at the property next door. All of their parking should be confined, whether it's for customers or for help on their property. Because
Isn't that
it's a tight squeeze, and if they're successful,
Well, they'll be no more successful than they are already. So,
isn't that just saying that they need to abide by the law? I mean, lawfully, you can't park on other people's property without an easement or an agreement, right?
I mean,
So here's another question. So they're currently operating as a restaurant with full staff. Is their staffing going to change or?
No, no seating changes, no staffing changes.
Okay, so their capacity and staffing is going to stay the same as is right now.
Yes.
Okay.
well, I'm going to go ahead. I think it does trigger, it is an exterior alteration to play with the doors. So I'm going to move to waive further site plan approval for ADA ramp and related doors.
I would second that. Any discussion?
okay, you have a motion and a second. Any discussions, comments? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Dunn, aye.
Wire eye?
Maximovsky, aye.
Parmar, aye.
Zagradnik, aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Okay,
Okay. Thank you, people. You have a good night.
Good luck.
Thank you.
next up is to waive further site plan approval to install EV charging stations at Town Place Suites Marriott, 237 Russell Street.
I will not be participating in this one.
Okay,
Chris Chamberlain, Berkshire Design Group, here on behalf of Pioneer Valley Hotel Group. And let's see if can I have request to share, and I'll show the plan real quick.
Yep, let me just.
Or I can, looks like I can send a request actually.
Yeah, they just have changed the
There.
layout.
Alright. Well, I clicked send, so maybe something will pop up.
Yeah, I'll hit allow. And let's
Question
see.
for the
Great.
attorney on the board. What is the proper, seeing as how we were called out in a complaint once before, what is the proper language that Kishore should use in this case where he's the owner? He said he's not participating. Is there a proper?
That's it.
That's it? Okay. Just want to make sure we don't get another.
Good. All right. So this is the Marriott on Russell Street that was completed last year after having been approved under special permit site plan review to replace a previous hotel. This is the building here, Russell Street here, with an entry into the site. And the proposal is to locate 2 EV charging spaces for general public use as opposed to specifically for the hotel in these locations near the front of the site, which is going to require restriping these spaces, as well as adding a pad mount transformer and one charging station in this location here. Eversource has already been coordinated with. There's a utility pole in this location here, fed from the street to the transformer, which has the meter on it, and then feeds the charging station here. And that is the extent of what is proposed.
What is the protect street light and conduit location to be field verified?
Right. So we did note that there is an existing light pole in this
Yeah.
location. So we're drawing the contractor's attention to that needs to be protected, that there's some uncertainty where the conduit is, so that needs to
Okay.
be field verified before they start digging for this.
Got it. So you're saying protect the existing. Got it. Okay.
It's mostly just a watch out
Yeah.
in case you're not paying attention.
I think this is great. The one comment I had when I looked at it was it might mislead people to think that it's handicap parking, even though it's too far from the building, but because you have that aisle in the center, is that desired, or could you narrow that? I don't know. It just
Yeah, it's a fair point. There's sort of two reasons for that. One is we're working with the existing layout, so we're
Okay.
not looking to move any of these curb lines. And even though this is not an accessible space for the building, there are ADA standards that are applicable to this station because it's accessible by the public,
gotcha.
which is something we've had to deal with in the past. So
So a
truthfully, it
handicap
doesn't
van
need-
could charge there. Got it.
Yeah, and truthfully, I think it doesn't necessarily have to be this wide, but again, with the layout that we already had, it sort of made sense.
Got it. Thank you, Chris.
I'm just not following. So this is going to be a charger that that'll serve 4 cars at the same time?
2 cars.
2 cars.
2
So
cars.
there's, yeah. And it's not specifically for the hotel, although the reality is it's primarily going to be used by hotel guests because it's on property.
Are you planning any landscape screening around the transformer? I see that typically when I charge across the country.
So we do not have any planned, we don't have any proposed on this plan, but certainly if that's desired by the planning board, I'm sure the applicant would be happy to add some screening shrubs around it.
Yeah, I frequently see like evergreen, yews or something that just year round soften it from the road view. But
Mhm.
I don't know
Yeah.
what my colleagues think.
And I can, just for scale, I've got a photo of a similar installation at their hotel in Ludlow, so you can understand what that transformer looks like. I think I need to reshare here.
Yes, some of them are big and tall, and
Yeah, this may be bigger than reality because this is serving more stations in this location, but I think scale-wise, it's, probably in the ballpark of that because you get the meter extensions on the side and there needs to be a certain amount of space available. So a couple of shrubs would pretty well screen it from anybody passing by.
and that would prevent them from painting a mural of unapproved signage on the north side of it.
So which is going to be more like the one in the center between the 2 bollards, or the one on
Good
the
question.
left?
I think, yeah, and I zoomed out. I didn't want to, I meant to point out that I believe this is the old style, which is the lower level. My understanding is that it's the more modern level 3 chargers that are really quick, and those are the bigger version.
The level 3, right?
Yeah,
So it'll be the one on the left.
yeah,
Mm.
which is pretty much the standard these days, is from what little I know about the industry.
So these are fast chargers.
Right.
Because oftentimes hotels have what we in Tesla world call destination chargers that are level 2 that will charge it overnight while you stay at the hotel.
Yeah, and I think that's what they did. This again, this site's down in Ludlow. They added 3 or 4 stations, and then a few years later came back and added more. I think they have older ones that are the level 2 that are exactly that mark, and then it seemed that people were desiring the level 3s, and so that's what they've gone to.
Now, I get that. You could have 6 customers stay overnight and then 4 of them don't have to be skunked on charging because
Right.
they usually make you move your vehicle after it stops charging. Right.
Sure.
Makes sense.
Okay, I'll make a motion to waive further site plan approval for 2 EV chargers to be screened by low shrubs.
I would second that.
Okay, we have a motion, a second. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Done, aye.
Dwyer, aye.
Maximovsky, aye. Farmer not participating. Mr. Zagradnik,
Rodnick, aye.
motion passes 4-0 with one abstain.
Great. Thank you.
Next up, we have request of approval of a sign refacing for 326 Stables Restaurant. Somebody here for that?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry, we're just learning how to do this.
can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Okay. Oop. Okay.
Yeah,
We're new to this, so. Yes.
can you hear us? Or?
Yeah. Can you hear us?
We could hear you.
Yes.
Okay. So what we're planning on doing is just putting the sign was hit sometime in December, and we just want to put it. We don't want to change it at all. We just want to put
We
it
just
back the way
put
it
back-
was.
Yeah, back up.
And the only difference that's going to be it was regular light bulbs, and now they got to put LED inside of it because I guess it's a new law or something. But we're not changing the sign at all, not the post or anything.
Same size?
Same everything.
Same
The same
illumination,
exact sign.
Same light
Share my
intensity?
screen. I have the picture that you sent me, Brett. I could share my
Yes.
screen to show it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The one
The
on
one on the right.
Okay. Will the LEDs have the same light intensity as the other one?
Yes, that's what he said. Yes.
Okay. I have no questions. Anybody else have any questions or comments?
No, I think that's easier to read as you're moving.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
thought.
yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve replacement sign.
Second.
Do we have a motion and a second? Any questions or comments? Hearing none,
No.
roll call vote.
Done, aye.
Dwyer, aye.
Maximovsky, aye.
Farmer, aye.
Zagradnik, aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Very
Okay,
good.
Thank
Good
you.
luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's see. Approval of pylon sign for Bank of America. I don't see Mr. Reedy.
Is anyone here for Bank of America?
Okay. We'll put off that one. Discussion of possible subdivision of Richard Costello at 9 Lawrence Plain. Anybody here to discuss that one?
I'm working on it, but I don't know what, I wasn't informed that this was going to take place, so I don't know what the intent was.
Okay.
Oh,
The
Can you
can you hear
gentleman,
me? Oh, goddamn.
There we go.
Yep. the
Yes.
gentleman dropped off a copy of the plan with Kayla.
He joined via the phone call.
Yeah, he's
Okay.
down.
Richard, are you there?
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, yes.
We can
Barely,
hear you.
Can you hear me?
yeah. Very
Are we good
faint.
to go? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I was there a month and a half ago or whatever, and since then I've had the property surveyed by H&L Eaton Associates, and then I went to the zoning board, and they said I need to go back to the planning board to get the proposed road private way accepted before the zoning board could give me an easement, or not an easement, a variance for construction of the small house for my daughter. That's about where I'm at.
So what you really, 42 by 24.
I can explain what's going on if you guys would like me to.
Is that Randy? Yeah, if you would, please, I'd appreciate that.
So,
all right, go ahead.
Mr. Costello came to see you guys a while ago, and you were trying to figure out a way that he could create 2 lots. Based on our zoning, I can get 1 lot on Lawrence Plain Road, and then because there is you look on the plan, you'll see top of bank, and it's fairly steep, and he can't build beyond the top of the bank, so he's limited to where he can put this house. So what I've tried to do is create the road, which is only 15 feet wide, to limit the front yard setback, et cetera, et cetera. And as you can see, it's tight. It's not going to comply with any of the zoning. I did it this way to make the existing house lot clean, in that the Hadley box fits inside there. If I tried to do something with the second lot and impinged on the house lot, then he'd be asking for variances for both lots. So I figured this would be the easiest way out. So I didn't realize Richard had gone to the zoning board, and they directed him to come back to you guys. So what that means is we're going to have to submit these plans for very small subdivision, and hopefully get approval from the planning board, and then he can go to the zoning board and ask for a variance.
Okay. I have more than enough questions. I
can't help you with any answers.
I hate to say this, because there's case law that upholds this, that to put a building lot on unbuildable land like this is extremely questionable. Let me ask a question, and you don't need an answer right now. You can talk it over with Mr. Costello. If your proposal to allow a larger secondary house on the property goes before the fall town meeting and the planning board endorses it, would that be an option for this property?
Yes, sir, it would. I was just going to wait for you to finish saying something, and so you beat me to the punch, Jimmy.
Okay.
So, and Richard, we explain it to Richard so that he understands.
Yeah. Then let's just hold off. Let's not make, well, because it's the next item on the list.
Yeah.
We can combine this and the next item.
Okay, so
next item on the agenda is to discuss enlarging the size cap for the dwellings.
Right. So Richard, so you understand what's going on, we're talking about making a different kind of ADU that's not controlled by the state, a bigger size that the town would control, up to 1,200 square feet. It hasn't happened yet. We're in the discussion process. But if that were to pass at town meeting, then you wouldn't need a second lot. You could just build the house wherever you wanted to on the lot.
You could even keep your barns.
Your daughter's house and this house would be on the same lot, and you could only ever sell it as one combined property. However, you wouldn't be limited to putting it in a back corner. You could essentially put it much closer to the road. Probably, you said you're going to remove your greenhouse. You could almost put it right where the greenhouse is.
Right.
My question is, when I pass and somebody bought the whole property, would my daughter be a renter then? How can I
Yes.
protect her value? How can I protect her value?
This would be a unit, you've got some good questions, and maybe Randy could explain it offline to you better. So let's leave that question a little bit out and just go into the accessory dwelling.
Yeah,
And
you,
I've actually been working on writing up an entire bylaw for this.
and Richard, you can call me tomorrow and we can go over this stuff.
Well, I appreciate it, Randy. I will certainly do. Was there a good time for me to call you?
After 10 o'clock should work.
I can do that. I much
Okay.
appreciate all your help, gentlemen.
Okay, but hang on and listen to this next
Just listen to
discussion
it,
because
because
it would,
This
it
may
could
answer
impact
some
you.
of your questions.
Okay.
I've
Well,
been writing up the bylaw. It's probably 90% complete, ready to be sent out to the board into review. It is a special permit for buildings larger than 900 square feet. I've actually put an upper limit size of 1,250 square feet. These are all negotiable points. It is not, I'm not calling it an accessory dwelling unit. It's just gonna, I've thought about it. If we do that, it's going to be extremely complicated. Somebody comes in and it's going to be a mess. So I'm simply creating a whole new section of the zone bylaw 31, and I'm calling it secondary dwelling unit. It's just a matter of semantics to make sure we have a very definite line drawn between the 900 and the larger one. Other than that, it's pretty much everything that you've talked about, Randy.
Uh-huh.
The special permit, I'm saying that only two can only be added. It can be added as either an attached unit or as a accessory unit. You can convert a unit. If you have an accessory dwelling unit, let's say a garage or shed or something like that, you can convert it to an accessory dwelling unit, but it must comply with current zoning setbacks. In other words, it can't have the 15-foot rear setback. It's got to be 40 feet. And of course, the sidelines are the same. Those are probably, can only be added to a existing single-family unit. And other than that, it's just a lot of, it's very similar to our original ADU. Got to be owner occupied. They've got to occupy one of the two units.
Did you talk about any height restrictions or anything, Jimmy?
I said it's going to comply with the everything in the table. I think it's table 3.
Okay.
Table 4. The
Okay.
things. These are all things to be discussed by the board.
Yeah.
It can't be higher than anything allowed, currently allowed. Do we want to, I don't know if we want to make it a single story? Or do we want to, if somebody wanted to build a small 2-story? What I said is can't and it goes in there to explain how you measure square footage. It doesn't include a cellar unless the cellar is designed to be occupied and it complies with building code. You could have a single car garage, but the garage does not include it in the square footage. Doesn't include porches. A lot of it's the same thing as the existing ADU bylaw on what is and is not included.
Okay. So I don't know if any of you guys watched This Old House, but they're currently doing a segment on it's in the eastern part of the state. They're building an ADU. And so they were just last night, they were in Atlanta talking with them, and they've been doing it in Atlanta for 10 years-ish. But one of the things they had was a height restriction. And I truly think that's probably not a bad idea, because if somebody wants to build a 2-story house and it's 15 feet from a side yard line where they can look down in their neighbor's backyard, because I have a situation where I've got a side yard, which is my neighbor's rear yard. And so if I build a 2-story, I'm going to be looking down in their backyard.
Okay, that's, you can do that.
And interestingly, I was, more and more towns are doing this. I was doing some research for a project I'm working on in Deerfield today, going through their bylaw, and come to find out they're doing the exact same thing with the 1,200 square feet. So it's not a bad thing that we're talking about it. I was, considering limiting it to 2 bedrooms. And one of the reasons for the larger size in the second bedroom is if somebody gets to a point where they need live-in care, it would be nice to have the extra bedroom. So it sounds like you're making some good progress here. I appreciate that. And if you're, after the board gets to look at it, or even during the process, if you'd like me to take a look at it as well, I'd appreciate the chance to offer my opinions.
Okay. Should be ready within a week or two. I'll send it out for review and we can chew it apart.
All right. Sounds great. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, thank you. I much appreciate it. Randy, I much appreciate helping me out with this.
All right.
And I'll call you later at around 10ish. And gentlemen, thank you all for listening to my proposal. Thank you.
All right. You're welcome.
So are we
27
going to be discussing the proposal now or next meeting?
What's that? What I've got?
Yeah, what you were just referring to.
You haven't looked at it, so it would be unfair to try to guess on a bunch of stuff. Let me send it out so that you can review it, and then we can knock it apart or whatever with some intelligence, as opposed to just shooting from the hip.
So for our next meeting, item 3A on the agenda is going to change to discuss potential planning board related articles for special town meeting fall 2026.
Correct.
And that will be on it.
Okay.
I mean, this is, just the present case before us is unique and special. And certainly Randy's case is not unusual. But in Hadley, we used to have the lots that went behind a lot, and that was eventually taken off the board because they became student stuffers. We're in a unique situation here. We have to be aware of the fact that if it's 1,200 square feet, you could have quite a few students in there. So do we limit the number of people like Sunderland has attempted to do in their ADU bylaw? And
It does.
many consecutive days?
Joe,
but this is.
Joe, stop. It does limit the people.
Can we do that? Legally, I don't think we can do that.
If it's a special permit under, we're not affecting the ADU bylaw. This is above and beyond.
This is
all good things too.
Yeah, it's going to be owner occupied. The owner is going to live in one of the 2 residences.
It sounds, Jimmy, like we're trying to avoid some of the language, the ADU. And I have a feeling that the Attorney General would not approve it. If the ADU does not allow owner occupied, why would this be allowed?
Because it's not an ADU.
The ADU is limited to 900 square feet, Joe. Once you get above that, then the rules can change.
Well, that's not entirely true. Sunderland just passed 950 square feet.
Yeah.
So we have to be, I'm just throwing out the hypothetical situations.
But I think
We're
where
not calling
stuck-
it an ADU. We cannot go against what the Attorney General was saying. We cannot say it has to be owner occupied.
Well, we are in a position here that others are further along than we are.
Okay, good point.
So we will get to see what, 5 other towns. By the time we get this to fall town meeting, if we get it to fall town meeting, there will be some others that are pending in annual town meetings right
Yes.
now. Is that correct, Randy?
Yes, and Amherst has their bylaw has passed, and they have a owner occupied stipulation.
It's past the Attorney General's muster?
Well, it's on their books, Joe, so I'm going to assume it has. As a matter of fact, Amherst calls their second ADU, the bigger one, a local ADU versus the state ADU.
State ADU.
And again, once you get above that 900 square feet, the rules change.
Right.
And there was something, Joe, you said that the planning board chair in Sunderland made a point of saying by doing 950, they became eligible for some
Yes, exactly.
funding or grant options.
That is
Yes.
correct.
And that member of the planning board was on the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission for a while, so he probably knows what he's talking about a little bit more.
Yeah, I went to one of their meetings several months ago to talk to them about their ADU. They were the first one that made me aware that it was possible to go above and beyond. And yeah, that they did mention that there's a pool of grant money out there, and if you go above the, make bylaws that allow you to go above the 900, that you're eligible for something to apply, I guess. I don't know. I don't think it's a guarantee, but there is money out there.
But Jimmy raised a good point. We still have to make sure that the setbacks and the side yard dimensions all are in compliance with 15 feet, 40 feet, so on and so forth. Or we could limit the size of the lot that it goes on. For example, where I live, they're very small building lots. You cannot put another situation.
I've done that.
Okay, let's wait until we have a chance to
All right, good point.
do over.
Yeah. Okay. Application for a ground mounted solar at 27 East Hadley Road.
Hello, I'm here to represent Valley Solar for 27 East Hadley Road. I can share my screen just to show y'all the project, which I believe you've already been sent the plans as well. This is our typical ground mount with ground screws. The site plan on A101 is going to be the most helpful document. It shows the setbacks on there. It shows we're 126 feet to this wetland designated as a shallow marsh. And very far from the road. I don't have it listed here, but it's close to 300 feet from the road. The ground mount is roughly 10 feet tall. Let me look real quick. 17 by 17 is the rough footprint. You can see the ground screws, the helical piles here. It's going to be 4 helical piles. And let me see. Here's a good visual of the site. So this is looking at the house, and the East Hadley Road is beyond that. You can see the plantings along the property line were 50 feet from that side property, and no visual impact from the road. Here's another photo. And yeah, I'm open to any questions. Here's a more of a Google Earth overview. You can see East Road is just to the south. Here's the house, and we're about 140-foot trench from the house further north. And the marsh is going to be over to the northeast, which is also shown on the plans.
We have all these drawings someplace?
Yeah, I believe the plans were sent over. I'm not sure what day they were sent, but
Yes,
yeah,
I did see
you
them.
should have the
I s-
whole plan set.
And there's another house lot to the east between the wetland and this property.
Yeah, east and west. So the other house, the other property line, you can kind of see it in this photo.
Oh yeah, there's the edge of the house, yeah.
Yeah, you can see the mowing patterns.
Yeah.
So these are long north-south lots. And the wetland exists primarily, maybe fully, fully on the neighbor's lot. I don't know if that's a perennial stream or not. I mean, we are 211 feet from it, roughly. We put that on our maps just for context, but the state is designating this whole area as shallow marsh.
Kayla, do they need to go to conservation?
These plans are already shared with me. We don't have any problems with them.
Okay, well, with the administrative review, we have to circulate this to a few other departments. So we'll put you back on the agenda for our first June meeting.
Okay.
And it'll be administrative review, so that does not, it's not a public hearing per se.
Got it.
So that's June 2.
June 2. All right, sounds good.
How many
Look out
KW
for your
how large is
email.
the system?
Oh, sorry. Say that one more time. Your
How many-
KW.
How large is the system in KW?
So this is a unique project. We're actually doing a roof-mounted and ground-mounted solar. So the combined total system is 21.5. The
That AC or DC?
DC, sorry. And then
That's fine.
6.45 is the ground mount. So it's, about a quarter of the total system.
Okay. Okay, we'll see you on the first meeting in
All right.
June.
Sounds good. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you. Anybody here for general questions for the planning board? Seeing none? I guess we'll go to the public hearing. And I'll read the public hearing notice as it appeared in the Daily Hampshire Gazette. The Hadley Planning Board will conduct a Zoom public hearing on Tuesday, May 5th, 2026, beginning at 6:45 p.m. Purpose of the hearing is to review the application of Sovereign Builders, Inc. for special permits, site plan approval, and senior housing to construct a senior housing project consisting of approximately 68 housing units at 42 Middle Street. Plans are available by contacting the Town of Hadley Land Use Office during normal business hours, published twice in the Gazette, April 21 and 28. And with that, Mr. Squire?
Good evening. Yes, good evening, everyone. Jeff Squire from the Berkshire Design Group here on behalf of Sovereign Builders. Just real quick bookkeeping thing. I'm not the 68 units that was advertised. I'm not sure where that came from. There's a total of 34 units. We'll get to that, but regardless, just a little correction for the purposes of bookkeeping. bookkeeping. Um,
34 buildings,
34 units.
units. Okay.
Units, yes.
This is duplexes?
These are duplexes, yes.
So
Yes.
34 times 2 is
34 units, Joe. There's 17 buildings.
it would be
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's where the 68 came from, because I saw 34
68
units,
housing
I thought
units.
it was 68 because each one would have two. So it's actually
Right.
17 buildings,
Yes.
Right.
and that makes with, okay,
Yep.
all right.
So yeah, just a little bit of bookkeeping, but nevertheless, the project remains the same. And as is something that we've shared with you on a number of different occasions. Just to reorient everybody, it involves two properties. It's 40 and 42 Middle Street. The two properties combined consist of about 7.2 acres. Both parcels are within the business zone, and then also within the wireless communication village center, and then the central senior housing overlay district. So this is the bike path up through here. Middle Russell Street runs across the page on the bottom, and then Middle Street you can see runs north-south on the left side of the sheet here. The idea, as we've presented previously, is through the A&R process, create a third parcel. There's two existing residential properties that front Middle Street; those would remain. Create a third parcel. That includes 50 feet of frontage along Middle Street to allow for development of a senior housing project in the back parcel, which would be a combination of the rear part of 40 and 42. So this acreage in total is a little over 5.5 or just under 5.5 acres with that frontage. As we presented, the project includes a senior housing project consisting of 17 duplexes. There's two different duplex styles, which we'll see a little bit later in the presentation. There's a little bit larger footprint that is a 2-bedroom, and then the smaller footprint is a 1-bedroom unit. These are all duplexes just arranged throughout the site with a loop drive, 24 feet wide. Coming in off of Middle Street between the two properties. There's a small entry, wall sign, masonry sign that we envision in a seat wall type thing with a low lighting on it with a little gathering space behind it. As much green space as we can capture in the center of the site. We'll look at the stormwater design a little bit later, but essentially trying to take some stormwater features, some bioretention areas, some vegetated swales, and make those really an asset for the landscape and to create more private spaces for the backyards of these units. To the north is the Housing Authority property. Just beyond the sheet here, you can see, sorry for my sheet here, or the flashing, is just to the north, and the senior center and library is just to the south. We are the senior center, you can see, located right here in its front entry plaza, just off to the west. We are including a sidewalk connection. We do have a sidewalk that wraps around the inside of this development. So the project includes a crosswalk and a direct sidewalk connection to the front entry plaza, which seems to make logical sense given it's a senior housing development. So as I noted, stormwater, we're trying to take advantage of overland flows and really make the stormwater features sort of an asset for the project. We did do a number of test pits out here. There's no concern about groundwater. So we do have a fair amount of depth. Nevertheless, we're trying to encourage curb openings where we can gather that runoff into vegetated swales between the units, which gather into a larger bioretention area that connects to another bioretention area at the front of the site. And then there are two larger sort of combination surface and subsurface detention or infiltration systems in the western part of the property, rather than making these, deep detention basins and somewhat of an eyesore. What we try to do is split the balance. So these are only a couple of feet deep, and then below those, surface basins is a subsurface system, which, is an easy way to capture that additional volume needed. We are detaining all of the 100-year storm. In catastrophic events, it's designed such that overflow, this is a curbed roadway system. The low point of the site is right at this intersection. We've designed this such that there's a high point, somewhere on this entry drive, roughly in this location, so that water will, spill out onto Middle Street, at least in a controlled way, rather than, flooding adjacent properties and causing issues to neighbors or to adjacent properties. So we have thought about that. The site has no outlet currently, so we've designed this to be a little bit more of a robust system than we would have if it typically had an outlet. Utility systems are pretty straightforward. We're connecting to both municipal, sanitary, and water in Middle Street. We have confirmed with the DPW that there's sufficient capacity given the location of the project. We've done enough survey to gather, invert information in the sanitary, which is, unfortunately across the street in Middle Street, but it is a deep system, so we are able to design a gravity system. And then obviously a looped water system. We've got a couple of hydrants at either end of the development. But otherwise, each unit will be serviced by a individual service. And this will all be under an HOA. And so all of that will be, monitored within the site and controlled within the site. Site lighting, I think, just understanding or recognizing that this is intended to be sort of a rural, off the main drag development and relatively quiet. We didn't provide an abundance of site lighting. We are proposing, I think, 12, 14-foot tall street lights. You can see it's an LED fixture. It's a full cutoff and dark sky compliant fixture, but those have all been designed to, sort of work in between the units so as not to be an eyesore for the individual, unit owners, glaring into windows, but also provide, enough light for wayfinding and to see safely around the site.
It's interesting that you have a symmetrical housing, but you get that nice lateral throw.
Yes, with the type of light fixture. Yeah, it's like we worked with a lighting rep, and just given the sensitivity to the neighbors, it was sort of a fun little exercise.
Yeah.
Working with Kuhn Riddle to design the architecture. So as I said, these are two different size units.
Could we just go back to the lighting for a minute?
Sure.
That style of light is gorgeous, but it's exactly the style that got us in trouble on another property. So where is the LED source for that?
It's up in the top, and that is in order to make it, full cutoff and dark sky compliant.
Okay.
Is most
It's
of
not the old style with a bulb that comes down.
right.
So
Yeah.
we had a hotel off of Route 9 adjacent to 116, and they put in a light like that, but with a bulb.
Okay.
And even though it met all of the foot candle requirements, it was a persistent annoyance to the neighbors.
Right.
Understood. Yes.
Okay.
There
Is
is,
this
yeah,
like-
I don't know all those specifics, offhand, but I know there's a plate, there's a diffuser plate underneath, directly underneath. You can see it in the fixture, to sort of disperse that light a little bit. So it isn't a glowing, object that neighbors would see.
Does this fixture comply with dark?
Yes, he did say dark
dark
sky, right?
Yes.
It is certified.
It is a dark sky compliant and fully shielded cutoff fixture. That's the nature of those requirements really necessitate that the light source to be in the top of the fixture. It's difficult to put them in the bottom or anywhere else that doesn't violate those standards. So it is a challenge trying to find something that complies with, all of those requirements, but also you don't see the glare of it. So, but anyway, these have come a long way. These are a much more, modern and engineered fixture to address, the majority of those concerns. So,
Okay.
as I said, the architecture is there's two different styles. There is one, these are all single story. They all include a single car garage. There is space, you can see in the site plan. We did provide an additional, parking space outside of the garage so that there is room for a car in the garage and a car in the driveway. But each of the units, at least the smaller units, these are just under 1,400 square feet, gross square feet, for the one-bedroom units. You can see the one-car garage, one bedroom in the back. It's just sort of a mirror image. There's private yard space and access in the back. Include a porch and our, sort of traditional architecture for the area, horizontal clapboard siding, a number of different ridge lines so that you're not looking at, one continuous elevation. It's broken up with gable ends,
Jeff,
windows.
it looked like stairs in the floor plan.
There's stairs to a basement.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Is that a full basement or a crawl space or?
It is a full basement. Yeah. So
Okay.
you can see access or egress windows in the elevations, but it's a fully unfinished basement, recognizing the need for storage and just the other things with these smaller footprints. So that's really what that's intended to resolve.
Okay.
So these are the smaller units. There's 11 of those, and then there is a larger two-bedroom unit. There are 6 of these duplexes on the site, so you can see there's two bedrooms, one in the front of the unit, one in the rear. Again, they all include a single car garage and much of the same, living and entry space. These are slightly bigger, as you would expect with the additional bedroom. These are just over 1,700 square feet for gross square feet, which includes the garage space. So not all of that is living space. These are, fairly modest sized units. And again, similar architecture, but yeah, horizontal siding, some architectural features that you would, sort of come to expect in these sort of traditional architectural style, sunroom and patio space in the rear of the buildings. And as I said, all single story. With the application, we did include some information on traffic impact summaries. So we did go through a peer review process with Ty and Bond. I can talk about those comments and responses in general, but overall, most of them were fairly easy to resolve. We have submitted revised plans, or at least plan sheets information to them. That was, I think, Friday or early this morning. So as I would expect, we haven't heard back from them yet. But one of the comments in their review was that we should look at traffic generations from a couple of different land use types. This is based on the ITE numbers. So the two types that they suggested were senior housing, or senior adult housing, single family, and then senior adult housing, attached housing. There are two different land use categories in the ITE manual, so that was their suggestion, just to compare and contrast the two. But you can see the peak weekday daily trips would be 141 under the single family, and then up to 223 under the attached housing. And again, that's weekday trips. The peak hours, again, similar contrast, whereas 13 trips per hour under the single family senior adult housing land use, and then I think that says 19 under the week peak hour for the multifamily. So slightly different numbers, but similar. Again, this is emptying out onto 47, which is a state highway, but not controlled by DOT in this portion of town. It's under state control. So we don't have a state highway access permit, but based on traffic counts for that section of roadway, these, add a negligible amount of traffic to that, and that was, all reviewed as part of the larger traffic impact summary that we submitted, and was reviewed by Ty and Bond. And then lastly, yes, we did, just prior to submission of the permit application, we had engaged in a peer review contract with Ty and Bond to review the plan set and submission material. I think in general, there were a couple of editorial comments. 15-inch versus 12-inch pipe sizes. So most of those were somewhat clerical. There were a couple of comments about confirming access with emergency vehicles and curb radii. We did increase the curb radius at the intersection with Middle Street slightly, but given this is a 24-foot wide road, all the other internal radius work, and we had submitted, turning plans to support that, that access to the emergency vehicles was sufficient. A couple of comments about just aligning crosswalks, particularly the one to the senior center. That was sort of a skewed angle in the submitted plans, primarily to get around some stormwater infrastructure, but we've realigned that such that it's more perpendicular. We've added a little bit of information about signage, but again, we just envision at the entrance to the development where the initial T is, that there's a low stone masonry wall with some sort of raised lettering, with the development name, but very, very low key, not a big street sign, nothing pole mounted or ground mounted. That all that would be at the entry. And then I think the majority of the other comments were just acknowledging different requirements and other components of the plan. So, a couple of minor.
So a couple of questions on that.
Yep.
First, the fire, that'd be down.
Yeah. Do you have hydrants?
We do have hydrants. Yes.
Okay. Let's go back to the Ty and Bond letter.
Okay.
And has the chief approved all the turning?
Well, that's what I'm getting to. Let's look at, scroll down, page 2.
And I was surprised about the trees between the units, that I thought they'd want a clear access lane.
So the number 10, have you presented this to the fire chief and gotten his sign off on it?
No, I mean, our follow-up really was with Ty and Bond, with this, and this plan was included. So we haven't sought out comments specifically from the fire chief, but we certainly can.
Yeah, I think we need that. But we're in a situation where we're having staffing issues at the fire department. And while the chief has been provided with these plans, if it has not been called to his attention, he may not have gotten to them yet. And while the default is, if we don't hear back from you, we assume no objections. In this case, knowing how overworked he is, I would not assume no objections. I also know that we do have, I believe, another multi-purpose fire vehicle on order. So whatever turning radius you have done for what you believe to be our primary truck, I encourage you to consider whether verify that the new truck will work. The fire department obviously reserves the right to bring whatever truck they have they have ready to go.
Yep. Understood.
So we want that. I see that on this one, you do show a crosswalk with access to the senior center.
Right.
I think we want to be sure. I think we need it. I think it's a good idea. I think we really will need select board approval to access the property that way. But I don't think that'd be a major issue, but it's something that will need doing.
Mm-hmm.
Does the sidewalk continue out to
Middle Street? Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It looks to be on the interior ring.
We did the interior ring, right? Just understanding that, there's not going to be, we wouldn't anticipate, a huge amount of pedestrian traffic. I mean, there will be some, but we do pick it up at the intersection here that runs out to Middle Street.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Could you show that sidewalk going to the senior center? Closer view of it? Zoom in on it?
So what you don't see is a crosswalk, but there's a crosswalk, right where this flush notation is.
But to continue to the
weaves in
senior
between the
center, I'm assuming you're gonna have to pay to connect it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there'd be some coordination and I agree. We need some approval, some, agreement that it's okay to connect there, but that would be the idea that we would connect up to their patio.
And like Mr. Dwyer said, the planning board, that's beyond our authority, so you'll need to go to the select board for that approval. I mean, it's a good idea, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure that, it's done in the right authorities.
So the next thing I wanted to look at on the tie and bond in your reply is the next item regarding mail delivery.
Yes.
It is my understanding the mail delivery to subdivisions and developments such as this is not door to door anymore.
Okay.
I have a client who has just finished building out a residential subdivision, and post office basically said, sorry, henceforth, you will have a central box at the corner.
Okay.
So I think if you go back to the tie and bond, your reply, I believe, is incomplete and wrong. I'm not.
Yep.
I'm happy to learn otherwise, but I think that there are going to be 34 boxes, and you are going to need some sort of as indicated there, associated parking for residential pickup.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the recent subdivisions in Hadley, the USPS has all designated that they have individual boxes, and there's one or two larger boxes with keys where they can put packages, et cetera, et cetera.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't believe, I do believe that East Street Commons has a central pickup.
Okay.
Correct.
I'm assuming that might have to go at the east end, which is I was going to ask if that's where the snow storage is planned. If you go back to your plan.
On that bound at this end.
Yeah. I don't see where, I mean, it would be tough with all you've got at the west end to get a customer pull-off space to grab their mail.
There might be some opportunity here, but yeah, we'll look at dimensions and what we can get in.
So, Jeff, by way of clarification, when somebody asks how many units or how many available housing spaces are there going to be, what's the real answer? There are 17 units shown on the picture right in front of me now.
Yep.
And some, you said 17 are duplexes?
They're all
There's
duplexes,
17
I mean, they're all
buildings.
duplexes, but some have 2 bedrooms.
Mhm.
Right.
And some have 1 bedroom, but it's 34 units overall, 34 new senior residential
Okay.
units.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's got 6 with those screen porches on the back
Right.
or enclosed
No,
porches.
and during
There's
your
the-
presentation, you said multifamily.
Well, that was in the way the traffic impact statement summary was derived. There's a couple of land uses in there, and it's a senior housing, multifamily or senior housing single family. Those
Okay.
are the 2 choices.
Now, the new fire truck was brought up, and that's an excellent point. And somebody who was on the Sunderland Planning Board said, I said it's going to be homeowners association road, and they said, what's going to be the foundation? So should we be aware of that, or is that none of our business?
None of our business.
I kind of tend to disagree a little bit. What if it doesn't support the new fire truck and it
What-
develops potholes and people start complaining, and for sure they're going to come to the town meeting?
The road has to be designed to support the fire truck.
Okay, so is there a design of
He's
the
gonna
road?
go to talk to the fire department.
But there is a design of the road.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah, and our typical details will follow current DOT standards. So I think there's concrete. So there's a paving section here that is following current DOT standards in terms of thickness and base and
Yeah,
depth.
there it is. Okay, good.
Yep.
And snow storage, Jeff, I think we may have talked about that last time you were here. I don't.
Yeah, I mean, it's, obviously, we're going to take advantage of any of the green pockets that are, available. So, there is some room along the edge of the roads in some of these, pockets. They'll have to clear the sidewalk, but there is room, behind that. There's some limited space between units. There's some space at the eastern end of the unit or eastern end of the development. Again, a couple of, pockets throughout the site. Big Storms is going to be like any other development that they, I'm sure the roads will get skinnier and they'll have to truck out what they can't store. But, I think this year was a good test of a lot of that. So, I don't anticipate any problems above and beyond, what we would normally see. There's a number of these projects of this sort of density and spacing around that we can point to as examples. But yeah, I think there's sufficient space on site to manage the average snowfall.
Okay.
Mark, are you happy with the entrance to Middle Street? I know that was your initial concern when it was being proposed, and I think it was a legitimate one because East Street Common is a little tight for if there's a car coming both ways, and especially for a big fire truck.
Yeah, how much of a flared curve do you have at Middle Street? I mean, a
So
flared
we
radius.
updated plans based on the Ty and Bond comments. We've got it's a 24-foot wide road, and the radius is 8 feet now.
That's a little tight. Okay.
So where this gets a little murky and you're not showing us everything, what's the distance between the property line and the traveled portion of Middle Street?
So there's obviously a wide right of way there, and just because of the scale of the plan, it was going to be difficult to capture that last 30 feet. So it does show in the top here.
Okay. I mean, that's what I'm looking for, because now you're so this gets into another jurisdictional issue that you're basically you need a driveway permit
Sure.
from DPW.
Yep.
And you're going to have to negotiate with them for how much of a flare you can put on the town right of way.
So, okay,
I would
Back
like
to
to
the
see
drainage.
more than an 8-foot radius on the south side of that entrance.
have you talked to Butch about the drainage yet?
Yes. But I
Yes,
can go.
he's got underground under the retention bases. Are those retention bases or detention bases?
They're infiltration basins.
Okay.
Now, go back to that top one, you show an invert. The line going out to Middle Street,
Go back to the top left where
top one,
your connection to the street.
that one up there in the top left
Thank you.
corner.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's a 129, 128. Yeah, 129.
So those two lines going out are the water and sewer lines?
These are water and sewer, correct?
Okay, so there's no connection to any town drainage systems?
No,
Okay,
no,
So
we
everything
can't
is
connect because
infiltrated on site.
right.
Okay,
Yeah, so the stormwater system is, as I was, mentioned in the presentation, I apologize, I ran over it quickly, but it's, we've got a number of places to store water, so that we can handle and detain all of the 100-year storm on site because there isn't an outlet.
okay.
And you would have when it peaks, you could have a pond on the west part of there, right?
Right.
And it would have to go above that to spill over in a controlled way into the public way.
Correct.
But at that point, if there's that much, everybody's bleeding into
right.
that.
Right.
Okay. I do agree with Bill that you can't rely on no response from the fire department. We really
Sure.
need to try to find time with him because I wonder if he's going to want the trees removed between the units for access for his vehicles and his workers. And so that might make the site landscaping look very different when you don't have, because it looks very nice now with all the green, but you might lose all those between the units if the fire department finds those to be an obstruction to their access.
So
We'll review this with them. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
what's your traffic circulation? Is this going to be two-way or clockwise or counterclockwise or?
No, it's all two-way. It's a 24-foot wide road, so there's, sufficient space for two 12-foot travel lanes.
Okay.
Just based on that, I know that I'm thinking of like East Street Commons. They have narrower roads and it's one way. Just out of curiosity, why is it so wide and why to make it two-way?
I think in all honesty, recognizing that, there will be times where, some additional visitor parking will be necessary. And at least with a wider street, a visitor can park, alongside the street and people can still safely get by. It serves as an overflow space without creating a separate parking lot, and satisfies all of the emergency requirements. So it seemed like a very efficient way to, kill two birds with one stone effectively.
Okay,
And that ring sidewalk, is that proposed to be concrete?
I believe it is, yes.
And then would that have, I don't remember reviewing the curb detail, so that would have a 6-inch raised curb.
Yes.
So your drainage from the outside ring would go onto the road and then into the collection, and your inside ring would all drain towards the center of that.
Correct.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we've got,
And same thing on your access road, that it would drain from north to south onto the road, but not off the road, off the south edge, because you've got a concrete curb with your sidewalk.
Right. And we do have, I don't know how well these show up in the details. They're called these rain guardian foxholes, but it's essentially, it's a curb inlet that's incorporated with the, the curb line, so
Okay,
that they have a grate over the top of them. You can see, that it allows, pedestrian access across the top of them, and
gotcha.
stormwater still to flow through them, and it acts as a conveyance and treatment structure. So, seemed like
Is that a maintenance issue?
No, I mean, there's no grate on it on that inlet,
Okay.
so it does allow to pass through. There's some maintenance that's included in the maintenance plan for keeping these swales clean and free of debris, but not for those structures specifically.
Okay.
You may not be able to answer this one, Jeff, and it had nothing to do really with the zoning, but the ownership of these units, will they own, how is that going to be set up? Do you know?
I don't.
Okay, that's
And I
fine.
think, yeah, I mean, if there's any other site plan questions or comments, happy to address those. I think there was, the one of the closing paragraphs in our narrative and in the application, for the sake of discussion purposes, is regarding the affordability component, and just to talk with the board about fully recognize that there's an affordability component to it, that it was written into the bylaw. I think this project requires, as under
5 units.
15% of these being affordable is 5 units in total. I can't speak for the the deal that is underway, including acquisition and the construction of all these units, but I think, as everybody is certainly aware, costs are not what they were, a couple of years ago. And so, the margins on these projects, and we've seen this, with a host of projects, similar projects in all sorts of towns under all sorts of different zoning requirements, really comes down to the last couple of units, is the profit margin. And, understanding there isn't a fund to pay into, is there, another way or a option that could be afforded, because the challenge is trying to, the real estate market is limiting this to the 55 and older, and then, with the additional constraint of it being affordable, really puts projects like this, at jeopardy of being successful because of, all the other costs involved, including land acquisition. So, I think it's just an open discussion. I certainly, this is a great location, close to a number of public resources, library, town hall, and bus stop, major transportation routes, the bike path. So I think for all those reasons, it's a great project, and want to see this to fruition. But I think, just the financial challenges of what this really means on paper now is a little bit different than it was several years ago. So just wanted to open the floor to that discussion and see if there was any appetite for, some other alternative or some other way that we could try to achieve all the things that we're trying to achieve. So I'll leave it at that. And Todd can certainly, I think he's on that, can certainly chime in on any other further thoughts to that. But just wanted to offer that as a sort of a closing remark. So
I would like to see them.
I will offer my 2 cents right now, and I am not willing to bend on the 15%, nor am I willing to bend on requiring the 15% be built on site. But that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, I would.
We tried alternatives, and they have been a disaster.
Yeah.
We tried donating to the fund, and we could not come up with an equitable amount that was fair all around. And we've been telling any developer, if you're going to put a housing project in, you will put the affordable units on site.
The bylaw does allow you to put affordable units off-site, but we want to see real affordable units.
Yeah.
As Jim said, the payment in lieu, the language is still on the books. I personally still think it'd be a great idea if we could make it work, but we burned probably 9 months trying to work out an equitable formula and got nowhere.
It's not really a one size fits all.
Right.
Clearly, if you are going with a condominium model and selling off the properties, that's a little harder than going with a rental. It's a lot easier to manage affordability in a rental unit. But we're open to suggestions, but we have no ability to waive the 15%. And we recognize that some projects, if that's going to be a deal killer, some projects just aren't going to be able to proceed.
Let me introduce myself, Todd Solera, Sovereign Builders. I'm the applicant. And, as we see the next major cost increase in construction because of the situation with oil, it gets that more difficult. You don't see really anywhere affordable housing being built, and unless it's subsidized by grants or some other source of revenue. I mean, name locations where affordable housing are being built for sale that are not funded in some other way. So it's very difficult is where I'll start. It's so the formula is, the definition of affordable housing would be important, and it's not really defined that well. So it starts there with some confusion. But if the median income is $119,000 and change in Hadley, affordable is anywhere from 40 to 80% of that, and only 30% of that can be housing, which is taxes, insurance, mortgage, electric, and so on. All those have to fit into 30% of that. Well, that figures on the high side. If you take 80% of the median income in Hadley, that figures $28,000. That has to be taxes, insurance, mortgage, HOA in this case. And so, that ends up a unit sale price in the range of $250,000. And it's, really, really unrealistic. So you're asking the developer, not you, but your formula for 15% asks the developer to donate somewhere in the range of $350,000 per unit. And so it's very difficult. And it's so difficult, you don't see it happen anywhere without some sort of public subsidy that makes that happen. And even then, where do we see affordable housing happening? It's very limited, especially on in a private sector. You're 100% right, Mr. Dwyer, in that in rental, it is an easier equation to accomplish. So really, was hoping for some alternative means. This is a great project in a great location, and I'd hate to see it not move forward, but it's we're going to see another major increase. We just came to a place where people were willing to, or we stabilized in terms of the major jump in prices or costs from COVID. So we just stabilized, and rates are coming down a little bit, and people are a little more comfortable to move around in the marketplace, buy and sell. And then we have the situation in Iran, and we have not yet seen the domino effect of that. We've started to see it in our day-to-day costs, but the cost of construction is going to spike another 20 or 30%. And timing's everything. It's going to be very difficult, more difficult in the months to come when this would be built than it would be today to make that viable financially.
Heard and understood. I would have to I totally understand that. But from the homeowner buyer's perspective, if there's not affordable units, they can't stay in town. So if they raised their kids here and their parents raised them here, and they can't downsize in town. So that's what we're, charged with, is
Well,
trying to find a way to do that. And I think Mr. Dwyer said that the zoning does allow you to build them off-site. So if you wanted to do, there might be a way to do 5 units in one structure where you get a, some economies of scale.
so I failed to see really how finding another location would solve the problem really, but I'm open to considering that for sure. I think, the 15% it's commendable. It's a great goal, but is it realistic? I have to say, and obviously, it's in your zoning but I think, how many projects are gonna come to this hurdle and not move forward? But maybe that's the goal. Maybe the goal is that there should not be any future development.
The goal is to protect ourselves from a hostile comprehensive permit application in a location we have no control over.
All our zoning goes out the window.
We presently exceed the minimum required 10% affordability. So we are not subject to a hostile comprehensive permit application. And the whole point of the inclusionary zoning is to keep us on that side.
I don't really understand the hostile component of it.
That means that they don't have to comply with our zoning. The state says if we don't stay above 10%, they can come in and build wherever they want.
I see, like a
Practically.
40B or something.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And it's called hostile when the town gets defanged of its zoning.
I see.
So from our taxpayers' perspective, that is our charge, is to maintain that 10% of the housing stock. And as more, we have tried to build inclusionary housing, but all the developers tend to build just under the trigger. And that just increases our housing stock number, which decreases our affordable units. So we're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Sure. And unfortunately, the cost of construction really is the culprit here. We can sort of point the finger at developers and make the assumption that they're getting rich quick, but it's really difficult to build these things with the changing costs of construction, which just are, rapidly increasing. So when we started this, we weren't dealing with oil as it is. And, oil goes up, costs of materials go up, oil will go back down, materials will stay the same. Unfortunately, we never see the decrease, which is just, I can't understand it. It's maddens me, but I have no control over it.
You understand that, and we're by no means trying to pick on developers here. We're trying to protect the town.
Sure.
And there's no easy answer, by no means. So by any means,
Sure.
it's tough on you and it's tough on the town to do something different.
And it's coming at us from all directions. We're having to deal with unforeseen increases as well. The town, I'm sure you've read about the overrides. So
yes,
there are people that can't afford that. So we're, if we're not trying to maintain our standards for affordable housing, we're not doing right by them.
So the percentage is 15%, but that falls not in an even number. And so how does that apply?
You come to 5.1. I don't know. I was going to ask Mr. Dwyer. I would imagine if it came to 5.5 or 5.6, it might jump to 6 or be up to our. Would that be up to our?
I think it's sort of up to our initial discretion is how we want to interpret our bylaw.
Our fractions, yeah.
Because you're 5.1, that's pretty straightforward. There would be 5 units.
Sure. So some definition of what affordable means in Hadley would be super helpful because there are many, definitions of this.
So I'll keep it real simple.
Yeah.
The goal of the exercise is to have the affordable units eligible for listing on the inventory of affordable housing maintained by the state.
Okay.
So whatever their requirements are, that's what we want to see.
And I think 80% of the mean income is perhaps their bar, but don't quote me.
Yeah, I believe that's what it is. 80% of the median income, but then only 30% of that can be allocated to housing.
Or whatever the formula is, the goal is to have properties listed on the inventory because that is how the state calculates its percentages.
They tell us what's on our subsidized housing inventory, SHI.
Right.
And if it doesn't meet their satisfaction, then it doesn't
count.
Right.
Understood.
Now, if you wanted to do 20%, or is it 25 affordable, then we could count everyone on our SHI and we would
only for rentals.
Okay. Then we would throw you a party.
But if you're going to do these as condos, that does not that's not an available route.
And that's the intent. These are intent is to sell these.
I mean, whether they're sale or rentals, those are all business decisions that the developers have to make. That's beyond us.
Sure.
We did have one developer who has not yet filed with us indicate that he might take care of it by setting aside some of the units to be retained as rental property. With the others to be to be sold as condos. And then he would manage the rental units as affordable. But that involves a continuing relationship with the project. That's more than a homeowners association can handle.
Correct. Absolutely. That would be the developer's extended responsibility.
Right.
To own and maintain those as rentals. Sure.
Although in that case, the developer in question has multiple other properties. So there's an established universe that these would become part of.
Right. Of rental properties and that.
Right.
And that so yeah, no, I think I know who we're talking about, but sure. It's different than I have a rental property or two, but I do not have a, hundreds or even, tens or 20s. That's really all I have.
Well, so definitely you're going to pin down more detail on fire. And you're going to talk to the Postal Service about mail and how that's going to affect some of your layout. And, going forward, even if all the details aren't hammered out, we can still do an approval subject to the requirement that you provide the 15% affordability. And then that can be discussed further going forward. Speaking of going forward, couple of things that I probably should have mentioned earlier in the cycle. I filed an ethics disclosure with the town clerk today, disclosing that one of the property owners in question is a high school classmate. One of the other property owners, I have patronized their business before. And again, for one of the other property owners, I have provided legal services in the past, but not since 2011 and not in connection with this project.
Question for you, Mr. Dwyer. The person is also a classmate of mine, obviously, because we're classmates. Does that really count for anything?
I threw it in because I was doing the other ones too.
Okay. And
Um,
I did, one of the abutters built my house that I'm in, but that was 47 years ago. So I'm guessing that probably doesn't really count.
One of the
Prob-
butters yeah.
Probably not, but it doesn't hurt to
File
put
it?
in the form.
Okay,
I mean, there's no penalty, and it's basically a get out of jail free card. If you have made the disclosure, there is an assumption that it is not a conflict because you have disclosed it.
okay.
And I might recommend, Kishore, you might want to do one too. I'll send you the form just to disclose that you are in the same line of business.
Okay,
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's all you need to say. Obviously, you have no business interest in this, except that, well, you really have no business interest, but again, as I said, it doesn't hurt to make the disclosure.
okay.
The second problem I have is I just realized today that our next meeting date is actually the town election.
Oh, June 2nd.
So we just can't have any, make
So
any.
we can't have public hearings, right?
Public hearings or decisions, that's all.
Right. So we had previously continued
Cook,
Cook.
yeah,
So they'll have, what I did was, I did write to, I wrote to Ken Comey to ask if it would be possible for him to switch dates and come on the 19th. I don't see that I had a reply from him. But if he can, that means we could move this to the first June meeting.
Is it that we can't have public hearings or we can't make decisions?
We can't have a public hearing.
Okay.
second question on that one, on the same lines, Bill. Isn't June 2nd another override vote?
Let me see.
I think June 2nd is the override.
June 2nd is the override vote.
Yeah.
It is?
Okay.
Okay, so we can still hold the
Randy, can't you do those on Thursdays?
East Hadley Road one.
Yes, we could do the administrative review.
Okay, but we can't continue anything else to June 2nd. Okay, that's fine.
Right.
So next two meetings are out of touch. All right.
So yes, we're then looking at
I'm just going to throw in that I think in general, this project shows a lot of thought and promise. Not sure I've seen the elevations of the units. Oh, I guess we did. But yeah, no, I think it looks nice.
Jeff, if you share screen, I can show the rendering. That's not entirely accurate, but this is what we did before we did some plan changes.
Yeah. Oh, it's nice. I don't know if you could get a building type C that had 5 units in it and you could rent them, but anyway, I'm not the designer.
So I'm not sure if we need a motion to continue, but we will.
Just to cover our bases, we should.
Okay, I'll make a motion to continue to June 16th.
Second.
Motion second. Any comments? All in favor? Roll call.
Dunn, aye.
Dwyer, aye.
Maximowski, aye. Kishore.
Roddick, aye.
Oh, that's right. Kishore is,
Kishore is frozen, I think.
yeah.
Oh.
There he is. He's back.
Yeah, my right when I was Palmer aye.
Motion to continue passes 5-0.
Was it something we said, Kishore?
Yeah.
Well, thanks, everyone. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you all for your time tonight.
Thank you, Todd. Yeah. Thank you, Jeff.
All right. Take care.
Thank you.
Take care.
It's like froze right when I was trying to talk.
Stage fright.
I guess while we're at it, we should probably continue the motions to continue the Cook hearing for the solar panel to the same June 16th.
I'll make a motion to continue the Cook.
Second.
All in favor? Roll call.
Dunn, aye.
Dwyer, aye.
Maximowski, aye.
Palmer aye.
Roddick, aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Thank you. All right. We're all set. Oh, public announcement to the public, anybody that's still on. I should have done this at the beginning of the meeting. Town meeting is Thursday night, begins at 7 o'clock. The select board has requested people come there at about 6 o'clock to start checking in, as they expect a significant crowd, and they would like to start as soon as 7 o'clock and not be delayed for a very long time after that, waiting for people to check themselves in. So please arrive early, 6 o'clock start, and
If I can just add, Jim, there is free childcare being provided.
what's that?
There is free childcare being provided.
Oh,
But it does require pre-registration.
yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Which I think is today or tomorrow, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah. So let's see. There are some planning board articles on the town warrant. There are some override. There's a bunch of routine stuff, budgets, etc. So come out and vote your conscience, please. Let's see. Any 40R committee updates, Mark?
We are scheduled to meet on May 20th, and that agenda, we met with Ken Comia, and that agenda is to basically wrap up what we have and schedule a time to come before this board to present to you for any changes or modifications or additions that the board might request before we would submit it to the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities. Although Hayden had already gotten an informal blessing from them, that would go for the formal blessing. And then the next thing after that, if we had your blessing and the state's blessing, would then be to start scheduling some public outreach information sessions before it went on a perhaps ATM warrant. Not ATM, it would be the STM. It would be in the fall. Sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We will need to schedule an executive session with town council. We'd like to do it next week, early next week if we could. And Bill, you had some ideas on when?
I had suggested maybe starting off by looking at Monday afternoon.
Okay, what time would that might be?
I don't know. I think Mark is the least flexible among us.
I could probably do 4 o'clock if that's doable for others. 4:30 is easier, but.
And sure is probably the next least flexible.
Monday I'm pretty much free up until it is candidates night, so I have to be at the school by 6.
Okay. I would expect this meeting to last much more than an hour.
So with that constraint, maybe we should try to aim for 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
4 to 5, okay. What's the date?
11. Correct.
Okay, so 4 o'clock on May 11th, a Zoom public hearing, a Zoom executive session meeting with town council.
Okay. We'll have to open in public session. Then we have to go through, do you still have a script for going into executive session?
I might. Let me look at myself. I'll get back to it on that, Bill.
Okay.
Have we not done that dismissed by
I think we did. We did executive session. We've done only once since. So I will get this posted tomorrow.
Okay.
And
that would be Zoom or that would be at the.
That's exactly.
it'll be Zoom.
Okay.
I have these set up with a waiting room.
Okay.
So even if you have the link, you can't get in unless I let you in.
Gotcha.
And for a public meeting, I let everyone in.
Yep.
But for an executive session, I would let everyone in at the beginning, and then I as host, I can remove people.
No, obviously, if you let me in, you let anyone in.
Loose lips, sink ships.
Yeah, I just took a quick look, Bill. I will look better, but I don't see the script for executive session.
Okay. I think I have it somewhere. Again, it's been so long since we've done it.
Yeah, I'll do some more digging, but it's not obvious, put it that way.
Oh, Randy has it.
Oh, that's right, yeah. Randy, Mr. Iser,
Is he gone? Oh, yeah, he's there.
Yes, I'm here.
do you have the script for executive sessions?
I do, but they vary depending upon what you need to do. So I can give you the basics, and you'll have to fill in the particulars.
That's
Okay.
perfectly fine.
I can reach out to Jennifer too.
Yeah, she'd be the best place to go, Bill.
Yeah, I think I have. I have to look into my my old paper files. I think I have one in the that big white notebook I used to bring to every meeting.
If I can get it tomorrow, I'll email it to you guys.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Iser.
All right.
Certainly.
Can I add one more public service announcement?
What was that?
Can I add one more public service announcement? We were talking about next Monday, the 11th. That evening at 7, the Community Preservation Committee is trying something new in that it's kind of like an open house meeting for people that are thinking about applying. So it's for applicants, and they're going to try to, kind of hit FAQs and try to advise anyone that's thinking that they will want to apply in the next round for a CPA.
And when is that? What's
That
the
is
date?
7 o'clock Monday, the 11th. Mary Thayer and Andy Morris Friedman are the heart and soul of that, but I plan to be there with, I think, a few other members to support.
So is that going head to head with the candidates night?
Oh, that would be unfortunate if it is.
Let me see what time the candidates night is. Just give me
That's
precisely
on Mother's Club.
correct.
Who's up for reelection?
Mr. Parmar,
Okay.
there are no offices no contested positions on the town election.
So it is at 6:30 at the cafe.
Okay. So I will mention that to Mary and Andy. I don't know if they're going to change it at this date, but that's all I have.
Okay.
Right. I have nothing else.
I have nothing else.
Anybody have anything?
Negative.
Hearing none, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second then.
Second, all in favor, roll call.
Done aye.
Dwyer, aye.
Maximowski, aye.
Farmer, aye.
Rodnick, aye.
Meeting is history. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Kayla. Thank you, Alex. And thank you. Oh, the building inspector doesn't have anything, right?